Dream, believe, do is really a way of looking at life and one's life. I'm sitting here today with Julita Radev. Julita, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would, please.
Okay, I'm Bulgarian. I'm born and I lived for many years here. Some years I lived abroad. I work in advertising in the last 20 years for a company called McCann Erickson. And I'm 40-something.
Close enough.
And I'm married, I have 2 children. And I'm of the generation of, as we call it, the generation of change, which have spent part of their life in one society and another part of their life in another one, economical type of society.
Yeah, because you were here when the wall came down effectively, right?
Yes,
you were
I was actually in my 20s.
Young adult time, sure. And as I recall, there's a dream that you had around this time. Would you please tell us about your dream?
I can't say as a very famous speaker I have a dream. At that time, I was a young person in the university studying literature and linguistics and history and theory of culture. And I was reading a lot of textbooks in what I was studying. But this was exactly the time when the Berlin Wall fell and the first textbooks and books from the States that were coming to the university library.
You didn't have access to them before,
yes,
right?
Yes, and now we were having a lot of access. So accidentally, I pop up on books about advertising, and one book run by Peter Meyer, which was at that time the creative director at BBDO, about life in advertising. And actually it started like that. If you're young, if you want to have a lot of fun, to make a lot of money, drive expensive cars and wear expensive clothes, join the advertising. And I said, oh, that sounds interesting. Okay.
And that was in the book?
This was the first line of the book. And I was at that time 22, and I said, okay, that sounds exciting. I want to have a lot of fun. And let me find out what is advertising. So I started to read about and read textbooks and to learn and teach myself. So I said, okay, that's very good to do. But the thing is that there was no advertising.
There was no industry in Bulgaria at that time.
No industry.
Right.
There were no billboards, no advertising on media. And so this is how I started. I tried to build an industry with a number of partners, to build an agency, to start building brands, putting billboards, buying advertising time and space.
So the book was a catalyst to this. It helped inspire you. But what made you believe that you could do this?
What made me believe? I think the age. When you're 20-something, you believe. Doesn't matter what you believe. Everything looks very easy, very accessible. Life is in front of you, and you are not afraid. And the other thing is the time, because everything was changing. Everything was the old time, society, relations, economical, political, social, families. Right. Everything was collapsing. And something new was coming. And the people who were driving the new were the young people, were the people in the 20s with a lot of ideas, zero experience, but believing that they can change their country, they can build a new world, reinvent the world. So I think that this combination of factors made us absolutely believing and sure that whatever we did, I did this in the advertising, but a lot of my friends were completely in a different fields, and they were the same believers, and they did it the same way, because to be the right place at the right time. I would say that this is the secret. And in each time, there is the right place and the right people. The thing is that you have to have the instinct, what you want, what is your time, and what you can do. And so this is how I did it. So
what were some of the obstacles you encountered? I mean, there was no advertising, so there were no billboards, no advertising on television and so forth at the time. So what kind of obstacles did you run into as you tried to build the business?
We had a lot of obstacles. Like we didn't have the knowledge, we didn't have the experience, we didn't have anybody before us from which we have to learn. No best practices to benchmark.
How'd you gain that knowledge?
But these obstacles was in the same time as in life, an obstacle is also an advantage, because this makes you believe that you create the hot water. So you do things which nobody did before. And I had a number of cases where I was shocked. I was thinking for weeks about something, It was how to do, at that time, a media plan for television. And I was doing all this sophisticated way of expressing a media plan. And could you imagine my surprise where, I spent weeks on that. And then after a couple of months, being so proud with the thing I invented, I found out the same thing they were using in McCann Erickson for ages. So, but I was very proud of it. I was thinking that's my invention. No.
Right.
So, but at that time, when you don't have the information about that, you challenge yourself. Sometimes it's very easy to get it, and that makes you in a way lazy, less ambitious, and less believing because you have the feeling that somebody already did it. Why you have to put the effort? When you don't know that, when you're young, when you're in that time, you just do it and believe that you're unique.
You just make it happen. What lessons have you learned along the way? What lesson does your dream teach you?
I would say that there are many lessons you learn. The major lesson at that time is that you have to love, enjoy what you're doing. And you don't do it as a business. You don't do it believing that this will be a big business. No, you're doing it because you're enjoying it. And I would say that this is the major lesson of a human being. You have to enjoy that. And because probably people which never had the economical thinking behind the things we were doing, because we came out from a society where economics practically didn't exist.
Right.
So there were no goals of you have to grow the business or you have to make profits and things like that. No, you have to do a good commercial, a creative thing. You have to enjoy it. You have to make the best communication. We were working with adjectives and not with numbers. And I would say that this is the fundamental things which I learned at that time. The world is much better if people use adjectives than numbers.
I like that. It's a great thought. What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to pursue their dream? Any thoughts?
Even if they don't think it's a dream. Sometimes it's very easy to define that as a dream when the time passes and you look back and they say, okay, I had this dream. At that time, if you ask me, I wouldn't say that this is a dream. Probably I would say that my dream is to have a very fancy high heel shoes. Probably this would be more defined at that time for me as a dream. But whatever you think or whatever you feel it's nice and funny and enjoyable, do it. So it can turn to be your greatest dream. I'm not Gandhi, I'm not Martin Luther. Probably these people can define dreams even before they exist. For all the other people, that's not so easy. Whatever you want, do it. It can turn a dream.
Julita, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for your time with me today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.